So anyway, I keep hearing that the Angel Reese, Asia Wilson supporters they're the ones with the motion.
The topic of illusion appears to come up in the conversation you're referring to, particularly as it relates to famous people and athletes. It centers on Angel Reese's conviction, backed by her most devoted supporters, that she bears some of the blame for the unexpected spike in women's basketball popularity, just like Caitlin Clark. This assertion could be seen as nonsensical since it implies that Reese is the only attraction for fans, ignoring the larger background or additional elements that have contributed to the sport's increased prominence. It draws attention to how some famous people and their followings may begin to overstate their personal contributions to a greater good.
Angel Reese is now quoted as saying, "I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person." He refuses to say Caitlin Clark's name. "It's because of me too, and I want you to realize."
The conversation you're referring to seems to illustrate how the disclosure of real data, such as jersey sales, changed Angel Reese's standing as a significant attraction in women's basketball. The data showed that Caitlin Clark, not Angel Reese, was the top performer in spite of all the commotion and controversy. When the real numbers were disclosed, the Reese narrative quickly subsided, and Clark was proclaimed the winner of the comparison. Now that the real figures showed the truth behind all the excitement, the question is how low Reese was in the rankings. It emphasizes how, unless reliable facts and figures are considered, hype and perception frequently triumph over reality.
What happens when what I think is probably the far and away the most popular female athlete there is in existence right now, Caitlin Clark? What happens when her jersey sales are revealed in a very important period, by the way? September 1 through November 3rd would be some prime Christmas area. Disappointing.
The true impact on women's basketball is called into question by this. Why did everyone notice Caitlin Clark's arrival if Angel Reese is really appending the league? The argument is that even if Reese were the motivation, it wouldn't explain why Indiana's number 22, Caitlin Clark, suddenly captured the attention of everyone, including casual spectators and ardent WNBA fans. The answer lies in a single, crucial indicator that separates the league's true pulse from all the noise and confusion, as the video implies. Despite all of the Reese examples, the film tries to evaluate the statistic and demonstrate why Clark maintains that opinion. You seem to want to stop counting at this point, so let me know if you require any additional assistance or information.
And Adam Silver was trying to get Caitlin Clark in the three-point shooting contest in the All-Star weekend. It was because he needed her more than she needed them. All right? That because of the popularity, what it was she could draw in. Fact is, a lot of her ratings in games last year beat a hell of a lot of regular season NBA games. That's how she moved.
The WNBA's most lucrative season, the holidays, saw Caitlin Clark, a rookie phenom, dominate jersey sales. Even though well-known celebrities and well-established legends like Asia Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Brianna Stewart, and Angel Reese were present, Clark was the main draw. It was not a marketing effort, but rather her genuine star power that made her the face of the most jerseys hanging in closets this year. Because of her unquestionable presence and knowledge, she has emerged as the league's actual star, and her success isn't only the result of media manipulation. This goes beyond hype, since Clark possesses the real attributes that distinguish her from other players in the game and make her a true star.
We deserve more.
Of course,
Everybody.
I agree.
Everybody.
I agree with that.
But we gotta get face off the Christmas.
What?
Damn, we gotta get it up.
Y'all gotta deal with something.
In addition to dominating the WNBA, Caitlin Clark's jersey sales had a big influence on the NBA's sales rankings. In addition to dominating the WNBA, she became the #1 seller of NBA jerseys, with only Steph Curry able to surpass her. In contrast, Clark, a rookie in the WNBA, is perhaps the most famous basketball player in the world and the only NBA player to sell more jerseys than Clark. At his heels was Caitlin Clark. This is evidence of her generational influence on the sport, not just hype. There is a noticeable disparity in their impact, as Angel Reese's jersey sales are much outside of the top 10. This tells us a lot about who is actually influencing the discussion and attention to the sport.
You see the top selling jerseys. Steph Curry is number one, and who's that? Tell me who this is. Caitlin Clark is number two.
Despite Angel Reese's claims of doing something to improve the sport, the truth is that only one rookie, and not her, is actually making a significant impact in every quantifiable way. Women's basketball is becoming an essential television show due to Caitlin Clark, who is also driving viewership, breaking records, and selling tickets. Since Caitlin Clark has already used the pronoun we, it appears that Reese intended to say me too when she made her statement. The message is unmistakable, despite Reese's apparent attempt to make an impression. Caitlin Clark is already the sports spokesperson. I apologize, young lady, but Clark is driving the activity.
Sorry, young lady. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody would be watching the WNBA. Additionally, for you, this is all about Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is bringing the money to the game, the planes to the game, the TV viewership. The WNBA is on fire because of Caitlin Clark.
Despite her marketing as the face of Gen Z women's basketball and her self-described reputation as a cultural disruptor, Angel Reese didn't even make the top of the list. However, Caitlin Clark, an Indiana freshman, made a significant impact by placing second. Why? True fan interaction is not the same as TikTok popularity or viral interviews. More potent than excitement is Caitlin Clark's concrete evidence. On the court, she is getting genuine fan support in addition to being a viral hit. What made Caitlin famous was her individuality, which makes her stand out.
Caitlin Clark plays for the Indiana Fever in Indiana. Now, in sports terms, Indiana is considered, quote unquote, a small market. All right, that's just a fact. It is what it is. It's not New York. It's not LA. All right, it's not even Dallas. It's not Chicago. It's not Houston. It's not a big market. All right, it's not one of these juiced up markets. Boston would be the other one. And that is Caitlin.
Although Caitlin Clark's influence cannot be denied, her viewpoint is much more astounding. She is neither a social media star from Chicago, nor is she from a large coastal media hub like New York or Los Angeles. Rather, she is creating a stir from Indiana, which, prior to her arrival, wasn't even regarded as one of the WNBA's best media markets. However, Indiana is currently the league's most talked about club. This phenomenon is known as the Clark effect. Because it can come from anyone, her impact is changing the way that women's basketball is discussed and demonstrating that star power is more than just hype and numbers.
This should tell everybody that wants to argue for these other players in the WNBA all they need to know.
The truth is that culture without consumer participation is merely noise, notwithstanding the claims of Angel Reese's supporters that she is a cultural figure. Where are the observable effects if Reese is indeed changing the culture? Where are the ticket sales increases? Where did the increase in watchers happen? Where are the long lines of jerseys for Angel Reese? Right now, the only information we have is the quote marks volume. The story is not supported if there are no quantifiable outcomes.
Refreshing to see some shots actually make it refreshing! Oh no! That's Angel Reese's music! You like Mustangs? Your favorite player is Lawal Dang? Oh, you said...
Let's break it down. Caitlin Clark is the WNBA's #1 jersey seller, selling more than NBA players and only surpassed by Steph Curry. Angel Reese, on the other hand, does not even rank in the top 10. Clark's games have performed better than a number of NBA broadcasts in terms of audience. Regarding marketability, Clark already has significant endorsement agreements with a number of companies, including Wilson, Gainbridge, Gatorade, Nike, State Farm, and Panini. In them, she is the advertisement rather than just a character. Reese, on the other hand, is mostly recognized for her desire to gain fame and a few TikTok dance collaborations. It's funny, but doesn't have much of an economic impact.
How far is the gap? How far is the gap between Caitlin Clark and her popularity and anybody else in the WNBA? That gap has got to be like the Grand Canyon. That's like she's in a different area code. She's in a different state, maybe a different country. There are no other WNBA players on this list. Angel Reese is not on there. All right? She is.
Ask the media. Different how? When they attempt to use the Angels' impact as different card because there aren't any relevant facts at the moment. Being honest is more important than trying to silence Reese. Just because you admire someone's personality doesn't mean you can change history. Numbers, respect, fans, and ratings are all Caitlin Clark's. Reese merely keeps up a well-maintained Instagram presence and is unhappy of not receiving equal treatment. However, the reality of treatment is that you must earn it rather than expect it.
All right, back to business. Slam bag work, Brittany Griner. You see ring? Bang!
Somebody said she's got the coordination skills of a baby giraffe. I don't know what baby giraffes did to receive that kind of slander, but I won't stand for it. Bang!
The WNBA is back in little over a month. A friendly reminder, we're not watching because of one person. We're watching because of her, too.
Caitlin Clark gave them something they couldn't ignore instead of whining about the publicity. She persevered despite harsh punishments, negative publicity, and jealousy from veterans. Legends are created by the manner she continued to rise. Her incredible talent and tenacity are demonstrated by her record-breaking double-double run.
A double-double record streak. Huh. Okay. I mean, that's...
In reality, Caitlin Clark has already completed the game and taken the board home, despite her fans' preference to think that Angel Reese is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Clark is performing in enormous numbers and setting theaters on fire while Reese is out on radio tours griping about not receiving enough recognition. She set at least 62 records in her first season and 40 during her stint in the NCAA. When one person is performing better than the others, there's no rivalry.
Nice to look this clumsy at your job and then declare you're underpaid. Privilege! Bang! Justice for all baby giraffes out there. I will fight the good fight. Bang! One thing to take from these videos, never give up, because if she can do it, you can do it too.
The stats will speak for themselves if you simply send them the link to the jersey sales. The scoreboard always presents the facts, regardless of how hard they attempt to change the story. Actually, the only reason arenas are packed, people are paying attention, and women's basketball is experiencing its most prosperous period in history is Caitlin Clark. That cannot be created solely by sass and TikToks, nor can it be wished or tricked into being. How is Caitlin Clark doing? You either have it or you don't. She has everything.
Lessons to players: if you want fans to buy your jerseys in ridiculous numbers, then hit ridiculous logo threes. Well, Andy, I will say this. If you want players to buy your jerseys, be likable. And don't shit on an entire fan base. Yeah.
Making logo threes with Caitlin Clark's effortless skill is a great way to start if you want to sell a boatload of jerseys. But there are other ways to succeed without big events. Likability is yet another important component. Additionally, some athletes simply aren't good enough. Don't be surprised if nobody wants to wear your name on their back. Even if you're an amazing player, if you constantly argue with fans, act rudely, or act like you deserve credit without earning it. Does anyone recall when Angel Reese made fun of her own fans? Fans do remember that intensity, yes.
The X, and pretty much let the fans know how she. Let's pull up the tweet right now. This is the tweet right here. Angel Reese stated, "This is my podcast. Shut the F up. You don't watch."
But there are other factors contributing to the phenomenon besides Caitlin Clark's skill as a basketball player. She is a walking highlight reel, let's face it. However, due of her poise and lack of pettiness in the spotlight, she is a character whom people want to support. Respect is more important than performance alone. Character is what inspires loyalty, sells out arenas, and turns a youngster into a legend, even though skill may make others cheer.
This is the reason the WNBA never showed the jersey sale numbers, but only put ranks. It was always Clark at 1 and a humongous, ginormous gap from Angel Reese.
It is far too fair to refer to this as a rating between Angel and Caitlin, considering that Angel Reese was only 2. This is a total blowout, not a tight race. This is first place and somewhere far out of frame, not first and second. Caitlyn would be rushing around the competition while Angel is still tying her shoes if this had anything to do with jersey sales, ticket demand, or anything else that genuinely generates revenue for the league.
Wait, where are Asia and Angel? This can't be accurate. I mean, well, what are you going to say? What are you going to...
But when you see what Caitlyn Clark does every night, that amazement quickly wanes. You're not selling jerseys if you're not engaging your audience or making an impression that lasts after your performance. It's as easy as that. Twitter following and fiery interviews aren't the foundation of Foot Locker's success. The dispute should end when Caitlyn Clark, who was ranked number 1 in WNBA jersey sales, drops to number 2 in the NBA overall, only surpassed by Steph Curry. There are still valid questions about why Caitlyn is receiving so much attention. The others aren't doing enough to merit it.
People are paying thousands of dollars ticket prices to see her. She set gate revenue records all time. She broke how many records last year? 63, I think.
Because true impact emerges when the cameras stop running, the excitement subsides, and people begin spending their hard-earned money. That influences Caitlyn Clark. Tickets to see her were selling for thousands of dollars. Why do ticket prices increase as soon as she's on the program if she's only a headline? When she's supposed to play, why do nosebleed seats at games cost so much? Why does her name on the marquee force arenas to move from half-empty to standing room? Marketing isn't that. Magnetism is that. That's the true appeal. You simply cannot make that kind of demand. Because of this, all the justifications you hear, such as those pertaining to media bias or market size, just don't hold water. Because of her residence, Caitlyn Clark isn't receiving this much attention. No matter where she is receiving it. She's demonstrating that when you're genuinely remarkable, people will find you wherever you go.
She is the second highest selling NBA jersey. Not WNBA. I mean, she's first by a bazillion.
The statement, "But Angel Reese is popular too," will still be made even if the difference is clear. It's all okay, but where's the evidence? Why are people swarming websites to purchase her jersey? When she is chosen as a starter, why does attendance increase? The resale market that appears as soon as she is scheduled is nowhere to be found. Perhaps it's time to reconsider what impact means if your entire reputation is based on post-game clapbacks and social media feuds. Because Caitlyn Clark is trending for altering the WNBA's entire financial paradigm, whereas Reese can be trending for a tweet. She is speaking while others are listening. Don't be stupid. Only gaming, no marketing ploys. Drama is not necessary for him to hold power. Her off-ball intellect, laser passes, and three-point bombs are obvious. By the way, this won't stop the haters.
It won't shut haters up, by the way. I mean, look, if these other players are so damn popular, buy their shit. Up the ticket prices, up the demand. Make them change stadiums. Nah, y'all gonna keep running your mouths. I guess just being broke because y'all are talking on the internet.
A fact. Perhaps more proof is not needed. Perhaps you're finally coming to terms with the reality you've been running from. Caitlyn Clark didn't simply arrive at the league and start talking. They're talking about her. She is shining without waiting for approval. She has already taken center stage in the entire sport. The next time someone claims that Angel and Caitlyn have equal influence, please do us all a favor. Draw their attention to the scoreboard, ticket sales, jersey rankings, increasing ratings, resale numbers, and packed stadiums since statistics don't lie. They remind us who truly rules this game as they sit there, unyielding as ever. It isn't the cause of online arguments, spoiler alert. Kindly share your thoughts about Reese's delusions in the comment section below. To ensure you don't miss anything, kindly like, subscribe, and enable all notifications. See you at the next one. Click the video on the screen.